Let's continue on with the Eagles. They allowed more than 25 points per game last season, third worst in the NFL. The pass defense was particularly bad, as Philly allowed the third highest QBR in the league. So GM Howie Roseman has been aggressive in trying to improve the defense in free agency, signing pass rusher Bryce Huff, linebacker Devin White, and defensive back C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And Howie's made some really good moves when it comes to free agency, also in the draft. You think about all the things that he's done. So he's had success doing things like this. But Damian, have the Eagles done enough to fix their problems on defense?
Well, clearly you see they've done, as far as the front seven, they, obviously want Nolan Smith, their former first-round pick, to, be next in line, and signing Bryce Huff, get more speed out of the edge. But they're old in the tooth at the cornerback spot. That's the one area that I still look at with this Philadelphia Eagles defense, where they still can be extremely exposed on the back end of their defense. I like that they brought back C.J. Gardner-Johnson, playmaker back there, but I just still think they need to add some speed back there at the cornerback position.
Yeah, I agree with Damian. Up front, Bryce Huff, I thought was a really interesting addition because in a small sample size with the Jets, he was fantastic rushing the passer. I don't know how complete his skill set is, and I think his role is yet to be determined by what happens with Hassan Reddick, whether he gets traded. But by and large, I think they're pretty solid up front. They did make a bunch of additions at linebacker. Devin White has had a bit of a mixed record. He's excellent as a blitzer. There's been games where I've loved his run defense. There's been games where he's struggled in coverage. That's another area I would still consider adding at in the draft. Of course, Nakobe Dean comes back from injury, but corner is the position that really jumps out to me on this roster as one that they need to get younger at, to Damian's point, with James Bradbury and Darius Slay getting a bit older. And I think at 22, where they're picking, Laura, they're well situated to take one of the top 3 or 4 corners in an offense-heavy draft. Name I really like for them, I'll just throw out right now, Cooper Jean out of Iowa. Some view him as a safety. I think he is a terrific zone corner, a really good fit for Vic Fangio's scheme. So that's a pick, if I was an Eagles fan, I'd be really excited about, because it would signal sort of a transition to a youth movement on the back end.
Bill, when you look at all the Eagles' moves in free agency, what's your takeaway so far?
We've all had that breakup or that rough patch that causes you to dye your hair, maybe cut your hair off in other cases. Maybe you change your wardrobe, you start going to the gym. It feels like that's what happened to the Eagles after that losing streak at the end of the year, right? Like, they've done things they would never have done under Howie Roseman. They go out and sign Saquon Barkley. They give Devin White an off-ball linebacker position they really don't value, a one-year deal for meaningful money. They didn't want to give C.J. Gardner-Johnson a multi-year deal last offseason. He gets hurt. They bring him back on a multi-year deal anyway. Kind of feels like they saw the end of that season and didn't just evaluate it as, hey, we had a rough stretch, we need to improve our roster, but just, we need to reconsider our ideas of roster construction. Maybe we're not valuing running back and linebacker appropriately. Maybe we need a more well-rounded team than the team we had last year, because that team did not hold up when we got to December and January.
Yeah, the Barkley signing took me by surprise for similar reasons. I would have expected that contract for him. I would not have expected it from the Eagles based on how they treated the position in the past. Bill, to me, it tells me a couple of things. One, I think maybe the Eagles were surprised by how much the salary cap went up, and they thought, sure, we're already set at wide receiver, tight end, offensive line. Why not splurge at the one position that we can upgrade at? And to that end, I think that's another reason why I'm guessing that they made the move. This roster is already an all-star team on offense, and yet they fell short for a litany of reasons. So this felt like throwing a dart at a wall and saying, hey, maybe if we have a back who's a bit more multiple, maybe we can use him in the passing game, maybe we can put him in motion, maybe he can take advantage of some of these light boxes if we get them, because otherwise, to your point, it is very different from them, for them.
Yeah, man, I'm just now wanting to know what everybody dyed their hair after breakup. I think I cut bangs one time. Bad look for me.